My favorite is probably number 5. The Zenithia trilogy, the Erdrick trilogy being Dragon Quest 1, 2, and 3, loosely connected, and then the Zenithia trilogy also loosely connected 4, 5, and 6.
Okay.
4 I actually had back on Nintendo back in the day, so it has a special place in my heart. It's a really great game. They're all great games, 4, 5, and 6.
Yes.
I would rate them 5, then 4, then 6. Pick them up on the DS because Arte Piazza did a very good job. I believe it was them in making, modernizing them, making them, everything's just streamlined and awesome. 5 definitely has some great story elements and kind of tugs at the heartstrings and really good system.
I love it.
Yes.
All right, here we go. Let's see. We have a question from Ellie Feeden. I think that's what it looks like. Ellie Feeden. Are there any games you regret buying, playing, or both?
Yes.
Okay.
The only game I have ever returned to to the store.
Yeah.
Populous for the Super Nintendo.
Ooh.
The only game. It began my hate relationship with Peter Molyneux.
Yes.
I'm just gonna
yes.
say. Because I went in to get SimCity, and the guy behind the counter, to be fair, because he knew what he was talking about, he's like, well, this is like SimCity in that it's a simulation game. It's like, okay, I'll try it. It sucked, because they were out of SimCity. So I got Populous again. This is poop. Took it back, and they had SimCity back in stock. Luckily, I picked that up and played the crap out of it. So I lived happily ever after.
Good. I like it. Excellent.
It got dark.
I don't know. I think there are some games that I regret buying. I'm trying to think of some off the top of my head, though. I mean, so I bought some crappy games for the DS Lite when I first got it, like some really crappy games that were just terrible. Like Underground Pool, not worth your time.
Is that like a something you swim in a cavern underneath your house?
It's not like a Michael Phelps pool. It's like a like a Black Widow pool.
Oh, come on, Peter Molyneux is not very good. Let's just say it.
Oh, stop it.
Let's say it.
No, Peter Molyneux is awesome.
Name a great game that he has done.
Fable.
No.
Fable's
false.
a great game.
That's false. I'm sorry.
No, Fable's a great game.
Incorrect.
I'm right.
Nope.
Fable's a great game. Just ask the community. They know. Mr. Andy Creedon has
Wait. I also have another thing to add. You know who... remember our good pal, Matt Duncan?
Yes.
Our high school friend who picked up a PS2 early on in his life.
Yes.
And realized he didn't have much to play on it. So what did he do? Went to Walmart, see what they had in the bargain bin.
Oh, yeah.
What they had in the bargain bin were launch titles that were absolute crap. He must have gotten 5 or 6 games, played through them. I watched him play them. Holy crap, they were terrible. He returned all of them. It was bad. Anyway, go ahead.
That's a great story. I like that one. Mr. Andy Creedon asks, this is in the true sense of ask us anything, okay? We just want to let you guys know. You can ask us anything. Here, doesn't mean we're going to actually answer it, but here we go.
Boxers.
Ready? Question and answer. I made barbecue pulled chicken for a party tomorrow. I can't say it. He wrote it perfectly. I just can't say it. After the chicken was cooked and pulled apart, I put it in a bag with barbecue sauce to sit overnight. Mm-hmm. Should I have waited until serving time to add the sauce? Great question. Great question.
You can answer this first.
I'm going to say you should have waited, and here's why.
Okay.
Usually the sauce. See, the thing is, chicken's a little bit different than pork, but you could probably get away with that with chicken. But my thought is, you always want to, if you've already cooked, you've already kind of locked in the juices of the chicken, then when you go to add the sauce, it just kind of complements the flavor of the meat versus saturating it. Seems to me like you probably saturated it by dousing it in sauce and leaving it overnight.
See, I'm going to go the other way.
Okay.
I'm going to say that the sauce...
Can we go ahead and give a disclaimer that neither you or I are...
No, anything what we're talking about?
No, anything about this topic at all whatsoever. Like, we are We are probably two of the worst people in the in the known universe to ask this question to.
But I stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night.
But well, it might or might not have been a Holiday Inn Express. Let's just say that
It might have been a Residence Inn.
it might or might not have been that either. I mean, the point is,
I would say, in general, what he's done here is marinate his chicken in the sauce,
yes,
which I'm a fan of. I'm always a fan of marinating.
marinating in sauce is different than cooking it and then dousing it in sauce all night.
No, I'd say it's the same thing.
That's not marinating. Marinating is
Marinating is have a food and it's in a liquid of some sort, no matter how viscous it is. It's
and then you cook it.
No. You can marinate after you cook. It's okay.
I never heard that. But then again, I don't think I've ever watched more than 5 minutes of the Food Network, so I have no idea.
You gotta watch more Good Eats. What he should have done is brined the chicken, and then
the chicken.
and then you cook it and you pull it and then you put the sauce on. Anyway,
Yeah. Did you tenderize the chicken, Mr. Andy Creighton? All right, here we go. Let's see. Here, this is a great question from Red Mage. I love this one. Many
Is it about
indie games.
food?
No, it's not at all. Has nothing to do with food. Many indie games use retro style graphics, and some of them could easily have been actual releases on classic 16-bit systems with certain modifications, you understand. Question. Do you think any of these games, had they been released back in the heyday of the retro systems that we now all know and love, would be looked back at as bona fide classics?
Oh,
a la
absolutely.
Super Metroid, Chrono Trigger, blah, blah, blah.
absolutely.
If so, what games do you think would be?
Oh, he actually wants to know which ones.
Well, I'll tell you right now, you know mine. Mine's going to be Braid. I think Braid could easily have been a Super Nintendo title. Although Braid is kind of CPU intensive because of all the time control stuff. I'm not sure it could probably run on a Super Nintendo. I take that back. I take that back because
I think
I've seen the prototype. Yeah, I've seen the prototype for Braid, which is just like stick figures. Well, I don't know what kind of CPU. Anyway, whatever. I'm not an engineer, nor do I know to pretend what Jonathan Blow was thinking when he created Braid. I just think if Braid were capable of transitioning to the Super Nintendo, it would have been a hit, and I think people would have really loved it.
Yes. If Mark from Indie Game Searchlight is still in the chat, I completely say shout out some of what you think would be classic 16-bit, games that came out of modern indie ones. But
Yep.
I'm also going to say I would also say, I'm sorry, I was reading a comment about NCAA football for the SNES. But do I have a box and manual for it? I'm sorry, I got distracted. NCAA football. Do I? I might not. I know I have the game.
Yeah.
Wait, NCAA football? I have college football in 97.
That's like 3 years apart there. You've totally missed the boat.
I actually bought this in college. Remember, I think we played this.
Yeah, I think we did.
And I was like, look at this. This is great. This
This is terrible.
is when UNC used to be good at football. Anyway,
Yeah, I know. So true.
what was I saying?
You were talking about something not important.
Cave Story. Cave Story would be a good one. I was going to say To the Moon, naturally, would be an interesting one. The thing, it's an adventure game, like a point and click adventure, and I've gone over this before. There weren't really many of those on the Super Nintendo.
No, not at all.
I can think of-
kind of wasn't a great way to that genre kind of expressed itself.
It could
It
have.
was lacked.
It could,
I think
it definitely could have. I can think of two off the top of my head. One didn't even come out in America, Clock Tower, and the other
without
one,
the SNES mouse.
yeah, and it could use the SNES mouse. I don't think, and it didn't. Anyway, and Pac-Man 2: The New Adventures, which a lot of people didn't understand was an adventure game, therefore hated. So,
Awesome. I already said mine. All right, Omega RM
good job, Vulcan.
asks, do you prefer or dislike voice acting in games?
Oh, if it's good, I enjoy it. If it's
Yeah.
bad, I still enjoy it, but for different reasons.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that too. But I think so. I think voice acting is kind of like is similar to music in some ways. Like there is definitely a time and place where you can overdo it, and it just becomes cumbersome, and the game is less fun as a result. Right? If you want a good example, I think of how to execute this near flawlessly. Play a Ken Levine game. Play a BioShock game.
You know, yeah. You know,
Perfect balance.
one instance that I'm going to say I could really leave the voice acting as in any Mario game. I like Charles Martinet. He seems like a nice guy, but I'm kind of done with the
Nice guy.
I'm done with the yee woohoo ah. It's like, okay, all right, that's enough of that. Really.
Yep.
It's everywhere now.
Yeah. Over the topness. Okay, well, let's just call a spade again. Over the top kind of melodramatic feel is very popular in Japan.
Okay.
So when you have, so a lot of those games, I mean, just watch an episode of Dragon Ball Z. People are yelling, screaming, and going crazy all the time, right? And for some reason, people like this. The point is, it doesn't translate well into other cultures that don't scream and yell and blah 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 all the time, or that don't find that funny or entertaining. And so I think that's an example of where things get in the way. And the other thing I think is done very subtly, but is done well, is a Miyamoto game. Like, I mean, look at the voice acting in like a Mario Kart 64. It's like built into the game. It is so much a part of it. If you play it without it, it would lose a lot. But it's just kind of subtle. It just kind of does what it's supposed to do. It's entertaining, it's fun, and it's not stupid.
Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
So how about I just end with this. You are almost a Jill sandwich.
Okay. Jill sandwich.
All right.
Or you could watch the Painful Memories in Gaming about horrible video game dialogue, which I think is still exists somewhere.
Also, I love CDI Link's voice acting.
Yes. Yeah, which is what got me into YouTube Poops, which is the greatest. I still subscribe to YouTube Poop channels.
Also, To the Moon is on sale for $5 and DRM free on GOG right now. Hint, hint.
$5?
Commodore, did you get it yet?
Hey, maybe I can actually buy it now that it's not on Steam. So
yeah.
Steam wouldn't let me buy it.
Just get it off of GOG. $5. Come on.
I do love GOG. It's great.
It's GOG-erific.
Maybe if the internet connection holds up, I'll take care of that afterwards.
You should.
Here we go. Let's see.
Oh, I don't like my voice.
So now this is. I wish I had picked this username, but I didn't. The username is "You guys are awesome."
Oh, that's a pretty awesome name.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. From Sweden, saying hello from Sweden, where it is now well past the 4 o'clock in the a.m.
Well,
so
let me give you a hearty American greeting of "Hola."
Hola. and wave the American flag.
Yes. How'd you know? Did you hear it?
Yes, exactly. What are your opinions on educational games? Do they have a future, and should games and education be separated? I can go if you're just befuddled by that question.
I'm reflecting. You can go.
Okay. The educational, so the pedagogical value of games is something we are just beginning to understand.
Big word.
What?
Sorry.
Okay. If you're not going to answer, then shut the hell up. Okay. Stop interrupting me. No. So we're just starting to learn how teaching is enhanced or brought to great detriment by video gaming. What kind of things are enhanced? What kind of things are not, by the virtue of repetitive gameplay, so on and so forth. And the truth of the matter is, folks, the jury's still out in most areas. We know that it's not just about hand-eye coordination, which is all we ever heard in the 80s and 90s. It's about much, much more.
Oh, yeah.
When you have entire school programs that are using Minecraft to teach engineering, circuitry, as well as kind of dreaming big, and just the same way Legos did, right? Which is like kind of allowing us to dream big, build things, engineer things. You have entire like planning, city planning, those kinds of things can be taught inside of Minecraft. I think that kind of thing is just beginning to be understood, and it's something that I think we have to latch onto. If anything, I think that's what's going to help. It's not what's going to bring us there, but I think it's going to help destroy some of the stigma that's still around for video games as being toys and for kids. Video games are not toys. Video games are not for kids. They are artistic, and they do help us learn and process the world around us. And I think it's going to be essential to tie those things together. And that's my answer.
Oh, also, a Proton Pack is not a toy.
No, definitely not.
And I'll leave it at that. Yes, very good.
Yeah, good. Yeah, I think we covered that one. All right. let's see. Kansaki. What is your thought
What's
on